welcome to the grand finale of our PyTorch series. We've come a long way together. From basic tensors to building neural networks to training CNNs on real images. Today, we are learning the secret weapon that powers most production AI systems, transfer learning. Instead of training from scratch every time, we'll use models that were trained on millions of images and adapt them for our specific tasks. This is how Google Photos recognizes your friends, how medical AI diagnoses diseases, and how companies build AI products in weeks instead of months. By the end of this episode, you'll know how to leverage the world's best AI models for your own projects. This is where you become a true AI practitioner. Let's dive into the finale. Let me tell you a story. Imagine you want to learn surgery. You could start from scratch. Learn biology, then anatomy, then practice techniques for years. Or, you could learn from experienced surgeons. Watch them, assist them, then specialize. You'd become a surgeon much faster. That's transfer learning. In episode 4, we trained a CNN from scratch on Sapphire 10. It worked. But we needed 0 images and 15 epochs. What if we only have 500 images? What if we need to classify 100 categories instead of 10? Training from scratch would fail. Not enough data, not enough time, not enough compute power. Here's the key insight. The early layers of any image classifier learn the same things. Edges, corners, textures, basic shapes. These low-level features are universal. Whether you're recognizing cats or cars or medical scans, edges are edges. So why learn them from scratch every time? We can reuse them. Let's set up our environment for transfer learning. We'll import PyTorch, TorchVision for pre-trained models, and our standard utilities. The magic happens through TorchVision.models. This gives us instant access to models trained on ImageNet 1K, a dataset of about 1.2 million training images across 0 categories. I'm importing Torch and Torch.nn as usual. The key import is TorchVision.models. This gives us access to pre-trained architectures like RaceNet, VGG, AlexNet, and many more. I'm also importing the Modern Weights API. This is the new recommended way to load pre-trained models in PyTorch. It's more explicit and gives us access to the correct pre-processing transforms. These models were trained by researchers using powerful GPU clusters for days on the ImageNet 1K dataset. We get to use them completely free. I'm setting up the device. GPU if available, otherwise CPU for feature extraction. CPU works fine since we are only training a small classifier. Fine-tuning convolution layers is faster on GPU but still doable on CPU, setting random seed for reproducibility. Let me introduce you to the stars of transfer learning. RaceNet, VGG, MobileNet, and more. These are like celebrity AI models. Each has different strengths. Let me load RaceNet 18, one of the most popular architectures. I'm using the Modern Weights API. RaceNet 18_weights.default loads the best available pre-trained weights. Look at this architecture. RaceNet has residual connections. These are skip connections that help gradients flow better. It has 18 layers deep. The final layer is a fully connected layer with 0 outputs. One for each ImageNet class. Let me check the parameters. Over 11 million. All of these were trained on ImageNet 1K. That's about 1.2 million training images and 0 classes. They know how to detect edges, textures, and complex patterns. We get to use all this knowledge. Other popular models, ResNet 50 has more layers and higher accuracy. VGG16 is very deep with 138 million parameters. MobileNet is lightweight with only 4 million parameters, designed for mobile devices. EfficientNet balances accuracy and speed. Each model has trade-offs. There are two main strategies for transfer learning: feature extraction and fine-tuning. Let me explain both. For our demo, we'll create a simplified Indian currency classifier. Now, I must be clear, this is a toy dataset with distinct color patterns. It's designed to demonstrate the transfer learning workflow quickly. In a real production system, you would need actual photographs of currency notes with different lighting conditions, angles, backgrounds, and augmentations. Real currency classification requires hundreds of real photos per denomination, not synthetic color blobs. But for learning the mechanics of transfer learning, this demo serves the purpose. Let's build it. I'm creating 6 classes representing Indian currency: 10 rupees, 20 rupees, 50 rupees, 100 rupees, 200 rupees, and 500 rupees. Each class gets a distinct color pattern. This is a toy dataset. Important caveat: real currency classification needs real photos with variations in lighting, angles, wear and tear, and backgrounds. This demo achieves high accuracy because the task is artificially simple. The purpose is to teach the transfer learning workflow, not to build production currency recognition. I'm using the pre-processing transforms from the pre-trained weights. This ensures our images are normalized exactly the way the ImageNet training expected. This is important for transfer learning. Let's create data loaders for batch processing. For CPU training, we use NumWorkers 0. If you're training on GPU with Linux or Mac, you can set NumWorkers to 2 or 4 and enable pin memory true for faster data loading. I'm creating data loaders with batch size 32. Smaller than before because we have fewer images. Shuffle is true for training, false for testing. With 600 training images and batch size 32, we have about 19 batches per epoch. This is much smaller than CIFAR 10. But transfer learning works even with limited data. That's the power. I'm using NumWorkers 0 for CPU compatibility. On GPU with Linux or Mac, you could use NumWorkers 2 to 4 for faster loading. Let's implement feature extraction first. We'll freeze all convolutional layers. Only train the final classifier. I'm loading ResNet 18 with pre-trained weights. Now I'll freeze all parameters. This means they won't update during training. We're using the pre-trained features as is. ResNet's final layer is called FC, which stands for fully connected. It currently has 0 outputs for ImageNet classes. I'll replace it with a new layer. 6 outputs for our 6 currency classes. Only this new layer is trainable. All 11 million pre-trained parameters are frozen. We're only training the final layer's weights. About 0 parameters. This is super fast even on CPU. Let me verify. Frozen parameters, over 11 million. Trainable parameters, about 3,000. Perfect. The model will use pre-trained features and only learn how to combine them for our task. Let's train. Since we are only training one layer, this is very fast. Works fine even on CPU. I'm setting up cross-entropy loss and Adam optimizer. Learning rate is 0.001. Higher than usual because we are only training one layer. Before training, let me verify our dataset is ready. I'm checking sizes and testing the data loader. This ensures everything works smoothly. Now training for just 10 epochs. Watch how fast this learns. Remember, this demo dataset is artificially simple with distinct colors. That's why accuracy will be high. Real currency needs real photos with lighting and background variations. Training completes quickly. On this toy dataset, we achieve high accuracy because it's color-based. But the workflow is what matters. This is exactly how you do transfer learning with real data. Now, let's try fine-tuning. We'll unfreeze layer 4, the last residual block. This gives the model more flexibility to adapt. I'm loading a fresh RaceNet 18 model. This time, I'll freeze only the early layers. Specifically layers 1, 2, and 3. And unfreeze layer 4 plus the final FC layer. Let me explain the architecture. RaceNet has 4 main residual blocks, layer 1, layer 2, layer 3, and layer 4. Early layers detect basic features like edges. Later layers detect complex patterns. I'm keeping layers 1, 2, and 3 frozen. These learn universal features like edges and textures. I'm unfreezing only layer 4 and FC. These will adapt to our specific task. Check the parameters. Frozen, about 8 million. Trainable, about 3 million. We are training roughly 25% of the model. More than feature extraction but still manageable on CPU. Let's train the fine-tuned model. We use a lower learning rate. Because we are updating pre-trained weights. We don't want to destroy the learned features. I'm using a lower learning rate of 0.0001. This is important. With fine-tuning, we are updating pre-trained weights. A high learning rate would override the learned features. A low learning rate gently adapts them. Training for 15 epochs since we are training more parameters. This takes longer than feature extraction but still completes quickly. On our toy dataset, both strategies work well. In real applications with real photos, fine-tuning often gives 1 to 5% better accuracy. For critical applications like medical diagnosis, that improvement matters. Let's compare our two approaches. Feature extraction versus fine-tuning. Which one should you use? Let me create a comparison. Feature extraction trains only final classifier. About 3.0 parameters. Fast training works well on CPU, low memory usage. Fine-tuning trains layer 4 plus classifier. About 3 million parameters. Slower training, better on GPU, higher memory usage. The choice depends on your situation. Small dataset. Limited compute. Use feature extraction. Need maximum accuracy. Have GPU. Use fine-tuning. Here's my rule of thumb. Less than 1, 0 images. Feature extraction. 1, 0 to 10, 0 images. Fine-tuning. More than 10, 0. Consider training from scratch. Both approaches leverage pre-trained knowledge. This is the key to transfer learning. Let's prepare this for production. I'll save the model and show you how to do inference properly. I'm saving the fine-tuned model. This is ready for deployment. Now let me show you proper inference code. This is how you'd use the model in production. 3 key steps. Set model to eval mode. Use torch.no_grad context. Process the image through the model. In a real application, this would be wrapped in a web API or mobile app. User captures an image. Your backend calls this inference function. Returns the prediction with confidence. Simple and efficient. And that's a wrap. We've reached the end of our PyTorch journey. What an incredible series this has been. Let's reflect on what we've learned. In episode 1, we started with tensors, the fundamental data structure. In episode 2, we discovered automatic differentiation, the magic behind AI learning. In episode 3, we built our first neural network from scratch. In episode 4, we entered computer vision with CNNs. And today, episode 5, we learned transfer learning, the professional approach. You now have the skills to build real AI applications. Medical diagnosis systems. E-commerce visual search. Agricultural disease detection. Security systems. The possibilities are endless. Here's my advice, start building. The best way to learn is by doing. Pick a problem you care about. Collect real data. Try transfer learning. Deploy a simple app. Share it. Iterate and improve. That's how you become an AI practitioner. Remember, every expert was once a beginner. Every complex project started with a simple idea. You have the tools. You have the knowledge. Now go build something amazing. Thank you for joining me on this journey. If you found this valuable, please like, subscribe, and share. Drop a comment about what you'll build next. This is not the end. It's the beginning of your AI journey. Keep learning, keep experimenting, keep building. The future of AI is being written by people like you. Go make your mark. Until next time, happy coding. And remember, the best model is the one you actually build and deploy. See you in the next series.